mind
Mm.
and know that that's not really you. You are your body mind, absolutely. But just because you're having an emotion doesn't mean you need to suffer. And so in the moment of pain, you can kind of take a step back. And I did that through meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
This is Dale Cross, and welcome to another Soul Inspire podcast. This is the audio video podcast that features spiritually awakening souls to help inspire you on your own soul journey. On this episode, my guest is Ashley Douglas. Ashley Douglas is an empath, an intuitive, and she absolutely loves helping people tune in to their spiritual path. It's my great pleasure to welcome you, Ashley. Thank you for being on Soul Inspire.
yeah, thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Pleasure's all ours. So, Ashley, let's kick things off with what I always like to ask people, which is indeed, tell us a little bit about your spiritual background.
Yeah. Well, so I grew up in the Christian church,
Hmm.
Southern Baptist, then to Nazarene, then to non-denominational, and I've just always been very curious about spiritual things and always had a bit of a seeking nature about myself. Always wanted to learn more, always wanted to know more. And probably I would say I'm going to call it 6 years ago. I had a profound spiritual awakening along with another spiritual community I was part of, um, and really kind of let go of traditional religion and moved into more of the spiritual community as a whole,
Hmm.
with the understanding that kind of we're all a spirit having a human experience.
Mm.
And so all of the things involved in the exploration of that topic, right? And it's kind of a mind warp to go through that a bit of an identity crisis, a bit of an ego death, if you will.
Yeah.
But then also, you kind of go through this time where you drop the ego and you become disinterested in things of the world a little bit for a while.
Mm.
But then you merge back with the ego. The whole point is to be here. I believe you had Christian on your podcast last time, and
Yeah.
Christian, his story is amazing. And I loved what he had said. I've seen his story several times before, is like part of this experience is to be in the body and learn, be
Yes.
part of the veil, right? Go back into this humanness and just kind of be aware that you are a spirit having a human experience, but enjoy life at the same time, right? So
Yes.
been a beautiful journey, but it's also been really painful. I also find beautiful moments in the pain
Hmm.
just as much as in the other parts, right?
Mm.
So yeah, that's a
I
that's
like.
a very 30,000 foot view.
There you go. I like what you said. You find beauty even in the pain. And you were just talking about how we sort of wake up, right? Wake up
Mhm.
to the truth of who and what we are, which is I think our inherent nature is joy. Huh?
Yeah.
And so can you tell me a little bit about how you were able to bring joy to some of that pain? You mind going into that? Whatever you're
Yeah.
comfortable sharing.
Totally. What I think is the best way to put this is like there's a way to separate from pain without resisting pain, right?
Mhm.
So I think the way to do it is to kind of sit back as the spirit that you are. And, if you're going through a painful moment, whether it's, a breakup or a financial issue or you have some health scares, you can kind of step back as the spirit nature you are and just kind of look at your body mind
Mm.
and know that that's not really you. You are
Mm.
your body mind, absolutely. But just because you're having an emotion doesn't mean you need to suffer. And so in the moment of pain, you can kind of take a step back. And I did that through meditation.
Mhm.
Um, I did study a lot the work of Lester Levinson and Hale Dwoskin and the Sedona method, which is just a way of letting go of negative emotions
Mhm.
and kind of understanding our spiritual nature. And the biggest part of that is just to um, it's not like you disregard the body mind. It's more just like the emotions and things that you're experiencing aren't that serious because they're just kind of a dream. They're a
Hmm.
dream we're dreaming up, right? We're having this human experience, but our true nature is the spirit that we are.
Hmm.
And so you can see the body mind having its pain and love the body mind when it's having its pain, but also not get all wrapped up in it.
Mm.
Even if you get wrapped up in it, it's totally fine, right? From time to time, we do and we're supposed to, but
Mhm.
just continuing to
Hi, this is Dale Cross of Soul Inspire TV, and I want to invite you to my free webinar, Activate Your 5D Heart in the 3D. Are you ready to discover how to bring heaven down to earth and live in a bliss-filled reality of joy in the midst of collective chaos? Learn how to effectively shift from a 3D mind-based reality of struggling, striving, battle between light and dark. Learn how to shift from that to a 5D heart-based reality of effortlessness, joy, and unconditional love. This webinar will literally transform your life because I'm going to help you to learn how to live in alignment with your true nature of joy. And that's what's going to get you through all the chaos. So go ahead, click on the link in the description below this video, head on over to dalecross.net and click on the free webinar, Activate Your 5D Heart in the 3D. I'm looking forward to seeing you.
remind yourself to take that step back into the spirit that you are and just kind of like imagining that you're widening the camera lens.
Mm,
I live in Colorado, and so the beautiful mountains here. When
mm,
I feel like I'm spiraling, I just picture myself looking over the beautiful mountains and zooming out on the camera. And it just allows you to kind of gain some perspective. Like I am spirit having a human experience.
mhm,
Whatever I'm dealing with right now is not permanent. The feeling is going to pass. And then from that point, the pain is not so painful. The pain is not suffering. It's simply just an emotion.
mm, Beautiful. So would you say that it sounds like you were talking about the dream. So it's like kind of like we are an unlimited being having a dream of limitation, would you say?
Yeah, I mean, so this and from the spiritual teachers I've learned from and kind of had a bit of an experience of this through meditation myself is like this spiritual beingness is all of us. We are all interconnected. And
Mhm,
as a human being, we have such an experience of finiteness. We have an experience of separation,
mm,
basically, as a
mhm.
human being.
Yeah.
And the purpose of being a human being is to understand that we are actually not separate at all. And you reconcile your experiences back to this oneness that we all are
Mm,
in the way that so as a human being, you feel like you have to go get love and you have to go earn money and you have to go become one with the things that you're not one with. And in fact, it's the opposite. Once you realize you're one with everything,
mm,
then you can just experience yourself as a human being and life kind of happens and you don't have to resist the negative, but it's all just a manifestation of what you are believing about yourself from moment to moment.
mm. I love it. That's really wonderful. Would you say that? So it's really a dance, isn't it? It's like, would you say it's like uh, about integrating the shadow or integrating the parts that normally we would push away? Like I think it seems like a lot of religions teach us to push that away, label it as sin, the dark, push away. But what you're saying is the positive and negative polarities are really one energy. So when we try to split them apart or push them away, we create that's a resistance, which then perpetuates that
A resistance and
darkness.
also like an attention on it, right?
Oh,
So
yes.
like, really, and this is very Neville Goddard type of stuff, but it's like you are the creator of your reality.
Mm,
You are worthy. And worthy is not a feeling. Worthy is a noun. Worthy is something that you are born into. It's a birthright. And so this noun of
mm,
worthiness is who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so what that means is whatever you put your attention on, and let me clarify this after I say this.
Okay.
Whatever you put your attention on will simply manifest because you are worthy and you are the creator of your reality,
Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can put your attention on, oh, I need to get rid of the bad in my life and I need to reconcile all of this evil or whatever. And
Mm.
then your attention is on the problem. So, like in
Mm.
trying to push the problem away, you're creating more of the problem because your attention is on it.
Okay, I like the way you put
Or
it.
you can just say, now a lot of people are like, well, I can't stop thinking about it. I'm really afraid. And like now I'm afraid that I have a fearful thought and I've created something.
Yeah.
You can simply just remind yourself that, listen, if you have created negative patterns in your life, you can just decide now that's old story. And
Mm.
I'm going to put my attention on the things that I do want, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever is lovely, whatever is pure, whatever is of good report, think on those things. Not because you're trying to resist the
Mm-hmm.
bad.
Mm-hmm. So-called
You're
bad. Yeah.
so-called bad. You're just putting your attention on something else. So for now, let's neutralize good and bad. Good and bad don't exist. Whatever is manifesting is simply what you're putting your attention on. And
Mm.
so what you quit putting your attention on atrophies. It just goes away. You don't have to push it away. You don't have to work it away. You don't have to become worthy to make it go away. You simply just quit putting your attention on it. And
Mm-hmm.
now you put your attention on the things that you do want and you do that you are.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you aren't it in the 3D, you just decide, you know what? I am so loved and accepted. I have the best relationship. I am so financially independent and strong. I make great financial decisions. Whatever it happens to be, I'm healthy and strong. And it's not to say I resist what's going on in the 3D, because when you start to resist what's going on in your outer environment, again, you're putting your attention on it.
Yes. Right.
So simply love and acknowledge that you have feelings about it and allow those, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it allows you to stop putting your attention so much on it. You can just start to forget about it a little bit. Allow it,
Mm.
welcome it, love yourself for having the emotion, quit trying to change it.
Mm-hmm.
But then in the internal, go back inside and just, I'm so loved. I am abundant, whatever it is. And then those kinds of things, just you are drawing those to you because that is now where your attention is.
I love it. I love it. That's a nice formula that obviously works. And does that kind of come from you had mentioned Lester Levinson, Hale Dwoskin, the Sedona method? Is it some of those ideas come from that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, man, the book that started it all for me was Rhonda Byrne's book, The Greatest Secret.
Oh, I love that
She
one.
wrote The Secret, which is also an excellent book.
Yeah.
It's all about what's going on in the 3D and the things, and that's wonderful, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But also, The Greatest Secret, it talks about our true spiritual nature. And there are some amazing authors in that book opened up the door for me to have what I call a spiritual awakening,
Mm.
just kind of this awareness that I am a spirit having a human experience. And
Mm-hmm.
she um she quotes the work of Lester Levinson and Hale Dwoskin, who are the creators of the Sedona method,
Yes.
but every other author in that book is a graduate of the Sedona method. And so, you have these amazing people that teach you about the letting go process, but also combined with that, you can let go to the point where you're like not interested in life. And that's not the
Ah.
point. The
Ah.
point is not to
Mm.
lose your interest in
Y-
life.
yes.
The point is to merge back with yourself, right? The point
Mm.
is to have this human experience from the perspective of your spiritual nature. And when you can have your
Mm.
experience as a human from a spiritual perspective, everything is a lot more enjoyable because it's not all so serious.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so fun, right?
Yes. I hear you. I hear you. That is that's so precious to know that we can actually now we can enjoy the pleasures of life because we're no longer attached to those things. They're just whatever's coming up in the moment, and like you say, live, enjoy moment to moment to moment. I've heard you say this before, and this is what I am. Uh, I'd like to say practice, but I prefer to say that's what I am now.
Yeah,
Because practice denotes more the mind. I feel like living in the heart. So this is what I'm being. This is what I am being 24/7 now for quite some time, is just living in this delicious joy of life. And now when I eat some of my favorite food, I feel like I'm one with the food. It's like it tastes so
great.
good.
Right.
You know,
And
if
none
you
of
look,
it's so serious, right?
no, no,
Yeah.
no, it's not so serious though. That's
Right.
right, because that attachment's no longer there to the food, where I thought the food is separate from me, and I gotta get. No, it's like I am the food. I am one with the food. Now you can truly enjoy it, and yeah, I call this practice conscious hedonism. It's
Nice.
hedonism is the idea, of course, of living for the pleasure, but no, it's more like approaching pleasure from a conscious perspective. In other words, we're no longer attached to the pleasures, so now we can really enjoy the pleasures of life. And I feel
Yeah.
like the pleasure it's been so demonized by religion and pushed away, and all of the addictions to it and all this. Well, you can only have an addiction to pleasure when you're looking for an escape, which means you're not, whoops, I'm passionate about this. You can tell I'm like knocking my microphone off the table. What was I saying here? Yeah, it's like it's kind of like with pleasure, if an unconscious hedonism, which is what quite a few people in the world, the way they practice hedonism, which is a living for the pleasure, is an unconscious approach, meaning, oh, they're not happy with their life. So now they're seeking pleasure to try to fill something that's missing. Okay, this is not what we're talking about.
Right.
That's the way most people seem to approach pleasure. I like to approach pleasure consciously. I'm fully in my body. I'm taking in all the sensations instead of being out of my body. Out of my body being in the mind, 3D mind based, where you're like making shopping lists in your head instead of really experiencing pleasure. You're
Hmm.
thinking, or taking it too serious, taking it seriously, like you say,
Well,
uh,
you're clinging to it, right?
clinging to it.
So
Yeah, and then
I'll
you,
offer another perspective on
sure.
pleasure,
Okay,
right?
sure.
Or enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is really cool.
Mm,
So really, when you are perceiving that you're enjoying something, let's take fireworks, for example. I
sure.
think we can all relate to this feeling of awe and wonder watching fireworks, and
Mm,
we
mm,
we enjoy fireworks, and I'm not suggesting that we don't enjoy fireworks, but what I do know is what you're really experiencing is your true nature for a moment. What's happening is your mind is going quiet
mm-hmm.
and you are experiencing your true spiritual nature, and you attribute whatever you're feeling to whatever is going on in the 3D at the time you're really experiencing your spiritual nature. So, for example, people who love a certain type of food, you absolutely do love that certain type of food. But what's really going on is that when you're eating that food, your mind is going quiet
Mm,
and you're having a moment of peace, and your true spiritual nature is shining through. And you
mm,
say, I like spaghetti, right?
uh,
You say, I enjoy ice cream. You say, I enjoy travel. You absolutely do. And that's your human body, and you should absolutely enjoy those things. But what's really happening is your true spiritual nature is just there. So
see,
what you can do is chime into your meditative spiritual nature, and then the mundane becomes beautiful. The
mm,
everyday becomes lovely because you're experiencing that oneness that you always are.
I love it. See, this is how I know you're an amazing intuitive. You said spaghetti. How did you know that was my favorite meal? There you
Everybody
go.
loves spaghetti,
I
right?
know
I mean,
everybody
come
loves
on.
spaghetti, but no. But everyone, she is amazing. I have had a,
Oh,
I
thank,
took a session with her. She's amazing. Trust me.
thank you.
You want to check out her website, book that. Yes. I like what you said. It's so what you're really saying, Ashley, what I hear you saying is that we can make everything a meditation
Yeah, and really
in a way.
the act of meditation. There's a lady named Shakti Katarina Maggi, and I recommend you go look her up. She has a YouTube channel. She's Italian. She's got some of her stuff in Italian, some of it in English.
Mm-hmm.
She talks about what real meditation is. Real meditation is when you sit and observe your humanness from the position of spirit. So, kind of tuning into the spiritual nature that you are and observing your body mind. let's say, for example, you're having an emotional moment where you're really frustrated and you take a moment, you go within and you step back into that position of spirit. And what you do is you don't judge the emotion going on. You don't judge the situation going on. You embrace it. You just simply allow it. And the way I picture it is kind of like a pile of dirty clothes in the middle of the room. Don't touch it. Don't pick it up. Don't try to put them in the water. Just they're just there. Allow them to just be there. And what happens is in the allowing of that emotion, in the allowing of the situation, it kind of burns up.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
It dissipates,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you reconcile a little bit more of your body mind back to the loving nature that you are.
Mm.
That is the true act of meditation.
Yeah.
So, and it's when your mind goes quiet and you can just allow yourself to be that spiritual nature. So, I
Yeah.
talk a lot about with people that like meditation doesn't necessarily have to be sitting on the chair with your feet flat on the floor, our arms palms up. You can absolutely do it like that, and that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Meditation can also be, a triathlon where
Mm.
you're riding your bike and you're totally in flow, connected with your spiritual nature. And your
Mm.
body mind is just like locked in. You're in the zone, a lot of people call it.
Yes.
Um, I think everybody can relate to that feeling if you're new to this type of stuff. Like when you're feeling in the zone, everything is clicking and firing. That
Yep.
is your true nature. And that is what's fun,
It
right?
is.
So I just think, I mean, and that's where the joy bursts through, right? So people are like, I love to ride my bike. You do love to ride your bike, but you love to ride your bike because your mind goes quiet and you're able to meditate. You're able to connect with that spiritual nature that you are.
Yes, yes. Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I love that. That's yes. And so this idea of the conscious hedonism that I've been examining is really the idea that pleasure becomes the portal to the divine. It becomes the portal to the divine. And it kind of has echoes of, I don't know if you're familiar with Tantra. Are you
Uh-uh.
familiar with Tantra? Tantra is
Mm-mm.
kind of an Eastern mystical teaching that we use you can use, instead of denying the body, we can use the body as a portal back to God, as kind of a way to cultivate our spirituality via the body. So it's kind of reverse engineering. It's kind of like the opposite of what a lot of spiritual teachings are, more like asceticism or monasticism, the idea of denying the body, which I think is really just a trap of the mind. That's my own. Like, deny something that, to me, that doesn't make sense, because we're here to have an experience, and part of that includes the body. And I think when we deny the body in any way, we're really denying an aspect of ourselves. And the body, I see it as our vehicle for expressing our divinity in this 3D. The body allows us to have, like Rhonda Byrne in The Greatest Secret says, the journey is in the body, right? That's because we're already whole and complete at the source. So that doesn't need to that's but source wants to expand in, as, and through us. And that's why we have this body. The body allows us to expand. And
Yeah.
so
We're here
um
to learn and reconcile experiences back to love. And I think that
hmm,
like, through the enjoyment of, you know, I think exercise is probably such a universal thing, that people have
hmm,
experienced. Like
hmm,
you get that runner's high. Really, it's just your mind going quiet. And I
hmm,
think that that is a way, that through experiencing wonderful things, you
hmm,
experience your true spiritual nature, which is,
yes,
but 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 don't be mistaken that you have to have the
hmm,
external environment in the way that you don't cling to the external things, right?
hmm.
So like this is where addictions come from.
Okay.
People think that they need to cling to a drug or food or a
Hmm,
person,
hmm,
even
hmm.
to seek their happiness.
Yes.
When understand that what's happening when you're feeling that happiness is not that you're needing that food to feel happy or needing that drug to feel happy. It's just helping your mind go quiet for a brief period of time. And
Yeah.
you attribute it to the drug, you
Mhm.
attribute that to the food. But
Yes.
if you can find another way, like, so for example, if you have things that you quote think you enjoy, but they're in fact self-destructive habits,
Hmm.
there's another way to connect to your spiritual nature through meditation that will allow you to experience that same level of enjoyment in a way that's life-giving
Yes.
and not destructive to you or somebody else, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, but so it's just connect to your spirit and then everything from there is fun versus,
Yeah.
thinking that I have to eat 10 donuts because
That.
that makes me enjoy my life. No, enjoy
Yeah.
your life first here as spirit, and then you can make, and you know what? You'll find that you make better decisions. You find that
Oh yeah.
addictions fall off. You find that
Yes.
you simply just spend your money better. You have better relationships because you
Mhm.
are just living as that spiritual nature first.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah. Like even for myself, I used to be very addicted to food in the past timeline, I like to say. But those cravings they've just dissipated. And I
Yep.
didn't really need to do anything to stop the addiction or work on myself. It was more like as I fell into my true nature of joy moment to moment to moment, those things that were no longer serving me just dissolved of their own accord. Isn't that interesting?
That's beautiful. And I think that that
Mm.
is just your true nature shining forward, right?
Mm.
You know,
Okay. Yep.
you're not an addict. You're not this, you're not that. You are a spirit having a human experience. And you tie your identity to that. And then the
Mm.
things that don't serve you begin to fall away. Now, that said, if you're participating in some sort of 12-step program that you find valuable,
Mm-hmm.
continue to do that by all means, right? But
Mm-hmm.
also continue to tune into yourself as spirit, continue to meditate. And I think that you'll find that that'll really empower
Mm.
and bolster the
Mm-hmm.
work you're doing in your program. You know what I mean? I think
Mm.
they're not mutually exclusive. I always tell people to go to the doctor, go to
Yes, of
go
course.
to your program, like do your
Yeah.
things, right? Combine that with
Mm-hmm.
this awareness of your true spiritual nature, and it just one complements the other so well, right?
Yes. Yeah, they don't need to be in opposition to each other. They
Mm-hmm.
complement each other for sure, and that's the way. Okay, so tell me a little bit about we talked a little bit briefly, I guess, before we started recording, a little bit about Freedom Ministries and Michael Popovich.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I met you, really. I mean, indirectly, right? Because I started attending the Zoom meetings that he
Mm-hmm.
has. Yeah, so that started out as a church and all this. Can you kind of, but then it kind of dissipated more, it became more of a spiritual community, like on a non-religious. I think it
Yeah.
started out a bit religious, did it not? Can you tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about this? How, because this was a catalyst for your awakening in some ways, wasn't it? Or a big way.
Big time. Yeah, I was connected to Mike and Barb Popovich through business before going, and then he had a church, and at the time I was still uh, considered myself in the Christian religion, and so
Mhm.
I was like, yeah, let me try that out, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I got a lot out of it, but and it was always laced with freedom, which I love about Mike and Barb. They're always all about, you know, just joy and love and happiness, right? So it was very life-giving.
Mm.
But I think all of us simultaneously were going through this spiritual awakening where we were like coming out of the religious control of some of the things that happen in the modern world religion.
Mm.
And we all did it together. So it was a Christian group. And over time, it just became this spiritual community where now it's just this beautiful group of people that kind of talk about um, their own experience of being a body, being a spirit having a human experience. And I
Yes.
love that. Everybody's experiencing it in a different way. I don't ever like to say uh levels or farther along in their journey. I just think that we're all having our own journey.
Yeah.
Um, and there's just this forum where everybody can gather to talk about that. And it's actually been a very nice forum for people who are coming out of religion to
Mm.
have a safe and very comforting environment to process some of the things that they have experienced in religion
Mm.
and reconcile with how it's not like we're saying religion is like a bad thing. It's just when
No.
it starts to control people, when it starts to manipulate, then it just gets into something that's totally different, right?
Yeah.
So, like, how can we point back to your true nature,
Yeah.
which is you, a spirit? Um, Full stop. You are love.
Mm.
Everything else is a cultural addition,
I like the way you said that.
right?
Yep.
And your worthiness and everything else is, story that you've accumulated. And so, what I love about Mike and Barb is just they have been so open
Mm.
to letting information go. They haven't been so clung to a religious story that kept them stuck. They've been just open to new truths. And
Yeah.
I think that's allowed us all to grow together in a really beautiful way. So I just can't be more grateful to them
Hmm.
for creating an environment for us all to explore this together.
And what's the name of you want to give the name of Mike Popovich's YouTube channel?
Oh yeah, it's
Because
Freedom
we're just in
Ministries.
case for people that are curious, maybe some people that are in a transitional or deconstructing
Yes.
process of their own, maybe they've got some trauma from religion, this kind of thing. I point this out to people. This has been a great help to me as I have also come out of that
Yep.
religiosity. Oh
It's
yeah, what is the name of it?
it's at Freedom Ministries CO.
Oh, that's the name of the YouTube channel?
Is the YouTube handle. The title of the channel is Mike Popovich, Popovich,
Hmm.
dash Freedom Ministries. But if you just look up at Freedom Ministries CO, all one word, you'll be able to find him.
Yeah,
Great stuff on there, right? It's just
it has.
so non-judgmental, and he
Yeah,
holds Zoom meetings every week, and there's a lot of people
yeah,
on there who are just kind of deconstructing their experience.
yeah. Yeah, it's like it's like the evolution of their spiritual journey. And it's well, we'll put it in the show notes underneath as well. We'll
Yeah,
we'll, we'll
great.
also put your channel. Now you have a YouTube channel. What's your YouTube channel called?
Mine is just my name on the channel is Ash, and so you can look up at Ashley Douglas, and that there I will be.
Yes.
Um, and really, it's just more kind of spiritual ponderings. I get a lot of intuitive hits, and so I'll share
Yeah.
like what's on my mind. And really, the only reason I started it is because I would be talking to friends and family about like some of the things I was thinking about spiritually, and
Mm.
they seemed to enjoy it. And they said, "Hey,
Yeah.
you should start something where other people can listen to this." And I'm like, "All right." Mike encouraged me to. And then
Yeah.
so people seem to enjoy it. If not, no problem. But it's just me pontificating about spiritual things.
Well, I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah, I mean, I stumbled it on Facebook because I think you cross
Yeah.
post. Yeah.
I just post them
But I want
wherever.
to subscribe to your YouTube channel as well. That'll be more handy
Right.
maybe for me because
That,
I don't go on Facebook every day. So,
yeah, me neither.
but YouTube, I'm on there every day.
Hmm.
Obviously, I have this channel as well. So
Yep.
okay, great. We'll put that in the show notes as well. Now, do you want to just tell us briefly before you go? Of course, we dislike seeing you go because you're such a lovely person to talk to. Of
Well,
course, I could
thank you.
talk to you all day long, but I
Likewise.
wouldn't want to take your time up or whatever. But hey, what the hell? We live in timelessness, so
That's right.
I'm just gonna monopolize your time all day. No, I'm
There
just
you
kidding.
go.
Good excuse, right? Tell us a little bit about what you do with your clients. Now, I had an amazing session with Ashley, and if anybody is looking for some kind of intuitive guidance or what we call a Reiki session, what is Reiki? Can you tell us? Because you do Reiki, but it's a very gentle, I love the way you do it because I've
Yeah.
done
Thank
something
you.
similar with others, with another person, but it was more sort of like hard energy. Like I don't know
Hmm.
if I'm using the right term, but with you, it's very
Yeah.
soft and gentle, and I really appreciated it. And it
Good.
made a big difference in my life. So
That's wonderful.
I
Oh
encourage
my
everybody.
gosh.
So you tell us what exactly you do.
So yeah, I work with my intuition. I've always had a very heightened intuition,
Mm,
but Reiki energy healing is really just where, um, so if you study quantum physics and those things like
Mm,
that, we are
mm,
all energetic beings, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just changes form, and we know that through science, right? And so um, they have proved through science, also through things like the double slit experiment and other types of things, that if you send an intention towards something, an
Yes.
energetic intention towards something, that the energy of said object changes.
Mm.
Caveat, I don't suspect anyone on this channel would use this for a negative thing, but if you do that, it comes right back at you. So don't do that.
Okay,
But
yeah, exactly.
it comes back at you good or bad, right? So just be very careful. So with Reiki, all it is sending a loving intention,
Mm,
positive energy,
mm,
visualizing a positive outcome for whatever situation you are working with somebody on,
mm,
with the intention of helping that energy transform into love and something that can serve that person. So the energy isn't
mm,
created or destroyed, it just changes form. And so
mm.
I there's nothing I can do to heal you,
Right.
but I can simply send that loving energy toward you, and your body responds, the energy in your body responds
Mm,
to that and heals itself. And that's what that means, right? So like
yeah.
I don't heal anybody. I hold an intention and I facilitate energy changing form with you.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And you can kind of study this. Joe Dispenza talks about it a
Yeah,
lot. We've got the double slit experiment, so many different people,
yeah.
quantum physics, all that. And Reiki is just one name for it. It's just one piece of it. You use the emotion code. There are so
Yeah.
many different types of energy work. Um, Reiki's just the cool name for it now. So I have a Reiki certification,
Mm-hmm.
and I use some intuitive work to be able to say, hey, um, I believe that maybe something's going on in this area. Does that resonate for you? And people will either say yes or no. And
Mm-hmm.
we'll just kind of work on clearing the energy, lightening it up, hopefully.
Yeah.
Um, and then, yeah, it's just a really fun experience. Sometimes people come in who are on another frequency and they have a message for somebody as well, which is really beautiful. So,
Mm,
really, whatever's for the best and highest good of whoever is sitting with me,
mm-hmm.
is what we work with.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. And it's such, like I said, it's such a gentle thing. Now, the Reiki, I hear the word ki or chi. Ki, I guess it depends which language you speak it in, but that's really prana. I guess in Hinduism, they say prana or
Hmm.
life force energy.
Life
I mean,
force
we're really
energy.
talking
Yeah.
all about the same thing,
Isn't it
right?
lovely? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that's the same thing as the Holy Spirit?
1000%.
So
I
it,
think that, yeah,
yeah.
good.
Yeah, that I had to ask you that because that I've noticed that question pop up on, Quora. It's a kind of thing online where people ask questions, and of course I'm tuned into the spiritual topics one because that's what I'm interested in. And people say, "Is this the same as the Holy Spirit or something like that?"
Yeah.
You
It
know.
it totally. And I think the most basic way to understand it, I don't know why I feel like there's a lot of new people that are going to listen to this today.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm talking about it in a way that people who are kind of new to this would understand.
Good.
Um, the best way to put it is we all have a knowingness that there is something more to life than us.
Mm,
We all have a knowingness that there's that spiritual nature about us. Now, some people refer to that spiritual nature as God. Some people call it Allah. Some people call it Buddha. Some people call it Holy Spirit. Some people call it Christ consciousness. Some people call it universe. It
mm,
is all the same. And I actually think it's kind of a beautiful tapestry how
mm,
people can refer to the same thing in
mm,
their own cultural way. And right, religion, removing the manipulation of some groups,
mm,
religion is also fine in the way that it's kind of human, the human cultural way to put norms and systems and customs around the spiritual nature that we are, to kind of commemorate the celebration of that spirit, right?
mm,
So, like,
mm-hmm.
the rituals don't make you aware of your spiritual nature necessarily, but they can facilitate it. And if it does facilitate it for you, by all means, right? Do it.
Yeah.
Um, but all of it is the same. And then I think a lot of conflict would be dissolved when we just kind of recognize that whatever you call God
Mm,
is right. And whatever somebody else calls God is right.
ah.
because it's that spiritual nature. It's simply a cultural word we're putting to that knowingness that we are a spirit having a human experience.
Right, I like that. So what you're saying is semantics in a way. Yet
100%.
yet it is individually tailored to each person's. So yeah, each person has their own unique journey and path towards God or the divine. And some of that comes through a cultural lens, or it's filtered, sort of kind
Yeah,
of filtered through this lens of culture and religions and such. And I guess how we know that we're living in alignment with our true nature would be living in joy moment to moment to moment, would you say?
absolutely. And you know, joy, joy is a noun, meaning that's your nature. That is the birthright,
Mm.
worthiness, joy,
Mm-hmm.
love. Those are your names, really.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you're having an emotion, that's okay. The emotion doesn't detract from the noun of joy
Mm.
that you are and
Mm.
the noun of love that you are. And being just continuing to remind yourself. The Christian says this a lot, which I really respect him so much. He says, the point of being here is to reconcile your experiences back to love. And
Yes.
so it's not to resist the emotion. It's not to say this is not for me. It's just to say, hey, this is part of the human experience and it's all included, right?
Yes. Yeah. No, I really appreciated Christian's message. It's
Yeah.
phenomenal. Check that out if you get a chance to.
Yeah, absolutely. I love his
Everybody.
story. Anytime I see it, I listen to it again.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
If
Yeah.
people want to know how to find Christians, Christian Sundberg was a gentleman I interviewed in the previous podcast, and he shared his pre-birth memory story. If anyone wants to know how to easily find it, just stay tuned to the end of this episode, and you can click on the end card
Love it.
because it's going to be attached to this video because it's a
Got it.
previous one.
Excellent.
Okay, so Ashley, what how do you integrate? So what do you find is the best way? Because a lot of people have this question like, okay, great, I'm a spirit having a human experience, and that sounds wonderful, but how do I integrate that into my everyday 3D life? Do you have any
Oh man.
suggestions for that, or is that
You
up to
know, here's what I'll tell you is I feel like now that you know this, the screen has been slit and
Mm,
your spirit will take charge and
hmm.
guide you down your own personal journey. If you're interested, a great book to start with is The Greatest Secret by Rhonda Byrne.
Yes.
It's a beautiful, beautiful book. I love her audiobook because I just think I love to hear her voice. But um, what I know is that if you listen to this message and you're like curious about it, it's for you.
Hmm.
And you kind of don't have to worry about it. Spirit will continue to expand this in you without you needing to do anything.
Yes.
And it's such a beautiful unfoldment.
Ah, it is.
Um, it's painful at times, but it's also very beautiful because it's this remembering
Mm.
of our true nature. And,
Hmm.
you know, I do believe that that is the human experience. So my best advice would just see if you're really interested, just ask spirit and say, hey, show me.
Yes. Yeah, I love what you just said. It is an unfoldment that occurs, which lends evidence to the fact that you're stepping into truth.
Yeah,
Because like you said, you don't need to do anything. Things just begin to open up all around you. I've noticed that in my own journey as well, that it's like a very effortless. I feel like living in the 5D heart. I have on my website, dalecross.net, I have a webinar, free webinar I give. It's called Activate Your 5D Heart in the 3D. And it's
great.
very much about that integration process of
Yeah,
heart and mind coming into service to heart. And because most people are living just here.
right.
Because we've
Yeah,
been,
we're living in our senses, right? We're living in our reaction. And I think the thing
yeah,
is like to to have this unfoldment happen is not nobody has arrived. There are no people on this earth who have arrived. It is a
right.
constant journey.
Yes.
Nobody's farther ahead or behind. It's all just we're all on our own journey. And I really my goal in talking about any of this is to continually point people back to themselves.
Yeah.
It's your path. And so like if your path doesn't look like my path, it's totally okay.
Yes.
And it is the path you're supposed to be on, right? And just allow the unfoldment because it's going to be very uniquely tailored to you and it's going to be so beautiful to you if you just allow it to be custom to who you are.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Mm.
Well, Ashley, is there okay, so everybody check her out. Once again, your YouTube is Ashley Douglas.
Yep. At Ashley
Okay.
Douglas,
At
my
Ashley Douglas.
website. Yep.
Yeah, go
My
ahead.
website, if you want to book a session, is seewithash.com.
Yeah.
Happy to have you join me either of those places. Or
Yeah.
I have a lot of free content on YouTube. I don't ever want people to think that they have to book a session to get value from me.
Hmm.
No manipulation there. I just want people to, if they're interested, cool. If not, cool. So
That's
there
how
you
I
go.
feel.
There's where to
Yeah.
find me.
Well, wonderful. And
Yeah.
if there's one thing that you could leave us with, one uh pearl of wisdom,
Yeah.
one thing you could tell the entire world, what would no
Yeah.
pressure there, huh? One
No, it's good. I have it.
what
There's
would it
nothing to
be?
become. Yeah,
Oh,
there's nothing to
okay.
become. There's nothing to change. There's nothing to fix. There's nothing to get to. There's nothing to earn. You simply are all those things now. You are all the perfection right now.
Yeah.
And I think when we step back out of the Western mind of the becoming, fixing, changing, being, doing, grabbing, then we become aware of
Mm.
our nature a little
Hmm.
bit more and we're able to relax a little bit more because your whole point in this life is to love and be loved and to live this human experience as the spirit you are. So
I love it. Thank
enjoy
you
that.
so much. Oh yeah, indeed. Well, Ashley, it's been a real pleasure.
Likewise.
Thank you. I think we got to have you back for part two one day.
Sure.
Just because I just have that feeling, that sense that this was a wonderful or is a wonderful interview. And yeah, everybody, don't hesitate, please, or avoid hesitation. Won't use don't because that's not registered by the mind. If I say don't look at a pink elephant, what do you do?
That's what you do, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
so I'm trying to set this up nicely here for you. So avoid hesitation. Go directly to Ashley's site and book a session if you feel, if that resonates with you. I know that it's really been a help to me. I had a session with her and it was very beautiful. So thanks so much, Ashley. And thank you, everyone. See you again on the
Thanks,
next
guys.
edition of the Soul Inspire podcast.